Good evening, everyone. My name is Sarah Barker. I'm a special counsel in the corporate group at Minter Ellison Lawyers in Melbourne, Australia. I'm sorry I can't be there this evening to celebrate the launch of Responsible Investment Banking and to participate in the panel on banking for the future. But Karen has kindly extended the invitation to me to share with you my recent work in relation to responsible investment. And this work has recently received the United Nations Principles of Responsible Investment Sustainalytics Prize into Responsible Investment Research in 2014. The focus of my work as a corporate lawyer has been to examine how we can use the spectre of personal liability of directors and of trustees to drive engagement on the issue of climate change and ultimately corporate action on climate change. The conclusion of the work is that inaction on climate change, a passive approach to climate change, or a reactive approach to climate change risks and opportunities in the boardroom is likely to breach directors' and trustees' duties of due care and diligence. The reason for this is twofold. First of all, there has been a change in the scientific and economic context in which we examine the relationship between climate change on the one hand and the maximisation of financial wealth on the other hand. Historically, of course, climate change has been a subset of the E, the environment in ESG, and it has been considered a non-financial environmental externality, something that is inconsistent with, that is secondary to, that needs to be traded off against that primary financial imperative of a for-profit firm. But this context and the relationship between climate change and financial wealth has radically and rapidly changed. The ecological consequences of climate change, its observed impacts, its committed impacts, and its potential impacts have unparalleled economic consequences. And these economic consequences have squarely financial implications. So we can no longer dismiss climate change as a non-financial issue that is inconsistent with the wealth maximisation objectives of a firm. At the same time as this scientific and economic context around climate change and its relationship with wealth has evolved, at the same time, the legal context in which directors and trustees must discharge their fiduciary duties has also changed. In particular, regulators and the courts are expecting higher standards of professionalism, of proactivity, of engagement, of critical evaluation from directors and of trustees in order to discharge their duty of due care and diligence against the standard of a reasonable director or of a prudent trustee acting in the circumstances. And when we're looking at an issue of such profile and of such potential economic significance as climate change, it's simply no answer for a director to remain ignorant or to remain uncertain or to not ask the right questions of independent experts in order to fully inform themselves about the potential consequences of this issue, its risks and its opportunities for their firm. Categories in particular of inaction that are increasingly likely to breach the duty of due care and diligence going forward include such excuses as climate change scepticism, honest ignorance, uncertainty about the potential magnitude of climate change impacts, benchmarking either to regulatory minimum or to what everyone else in the industry is doing. We did no less than anyone else. Or outdated valuations, methodologies, or assumptions inputted into decision-making processes going forward. All these kinds of inaction on climate change are increasingly likely to breach directors' duties. Now, I know that this is a bold proposition, and I hope it does give you some additional material to discuss on the panel this evening. Indeed, there are certainly significant potential implications for governance practice in the boardroom going forward, and also significant potential implications for litigation frontiers, particularly in terms of class actions and shareholder derivative actions against directors and potentially against trustees. I would welcome the opportunity to discuss those issues with any of you at any time. And I know Karen has been kind enough to post the full version of my research paper on the Responsible Investment Banking website. But for now, I must bid you good evening and congratulate Karen and your co-authors on the launch of the Responsible Investment Banking book. And I hope that the rest of the panel discussion is engaged and that you all have a wonderful evening. Thank you.